On the goalkeeper point, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I was just going to say that I have very little sympathy for the club on this and Maresca, if his decision making influenced this, which I kind of assume it did to some part, that they decided to go into the season with Robert Sanchez as their first choice. They decided to buy Philip Jorgensen. They decided to, you know, I understand that going out there and signing the big first choice is not simple. But at the very least, you could have kept your most competent option from last year. They opted against that. And now we're in the position we're in. And if that is what costs them in some way, if we talk about a tight Champions League race, I've already floated this idea. If he is the reason, Robert Sanchez is the reason in a lot of ways when you look at the end of the season, and sure, maybe it's unfair to pin it all on one player, but it's quite an important position that they have overlooked for a number of years. Again, that leads back to who is responsible for the failure. It's not, and I don't think it's unfair for people to look at that. So I completely agree with you that until that's resolved, we are always going into very important games with at least a risk or at an extreme point of view, a hand tied behind our back.
Yeah, I don't like any goalkeeper that likes to have the attention on them, to be honest with you. Like, unless you're Neuer, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, Sanchez loves being on camera. He just loves being on camera. There's absolutely no hiding it. The guy is shameless about it. And actually, the weird thing is he sometimes does things that you're like, oh man, you could be world class. He plays a pass that's sublime, or he will make a save that's outrageous. And you think, what's this here? And then he plays a 4-yard pass the side, well, about as quick as my nan walks, and we get caught out and we concede. And you just know that at least once a game, he will have a moment. You don't know whether it's going to be good or bad, but he will have one. And I don't like that. I think some of it is to do genuinely with the youthfulness of the centre-back pairing. I like them a lot. I think Fofana's been slightly less good than Levi consistently over the season, but I like them both. I think this is definitely a place for them to both be and to build on. I think in a couple of seasons, those guys really sort of gel together and it becomes easier for the goalkeeper. But Sanchez, I just think isn't good enough. Or it's not that he's not good enough. He's not consistently good enough is the problem. He's actually got the ability. I think ability-wise, he's better than Petrovic. I think consistency-wise, Petrovic is far more consistent than Sanchez is. You love Petrovic, don't you? I can see it in your face you love Petrovic.
No, it's not. It's not that Petrovic is the greatest goalkeeper ever. I don't think he's better than what Mendy was. It's not. That's not the point. It's like you either stick with competence and because the argument, the briefing in recent weeks has been, well, Sanchez is a young goalkeeper at 27, and if you give him time, he's going to become one of the world's best. Compared to Petrovic, who that argument resonates a lot more strongly because fans watched him last season. Sure, have some dodgy moments or nothing compared to Sanchez, but like some moments where he could have done better on a shot here or there. But generally speaking, I think it was undeniable he was Chelsea's first choice goalkeeper, and he was clearly better than Robert Sanchez, in my opinion, by some distance. And with time, he could become better. I just completely disagree with you, and it's like the Kepa Mendy conversation we used to have. I think people think Sanchez's ability is better than Petrovic is because he plays with the ball at his feet, because it's been sold to us that that's a good part of his game, and every now and then he'll play a nice pass, and there's kind of, as you say, he likes to be in front of camera. It's like Kepa Arrizabalaga. There are things aesthetically, and this goes back to kind of a core conversation we've had a lot in our podcasts and discussions about Chelsea over the years, that aesthetics versus reality. And the reality of Robert Sanchez to me is that he's a fundamentally flawed player in a vital position. And I don't even buy the argument and the preconception that people have that he's better at the ball with the ball at his feet than Petrovic, because you think about last season when both those keepers were at Chelsea, who put Chelsea into more danger on a number of occasions compared to Petrovic. It was always Robert Sanchez, and the numbers didn't really show it because I think at times actually we were let off by the opposing team missing a big chance, or maybe our defenders make up for it, or Sanchez makes a save. But I just personally feel like that area is just, you can't, it's not like having the two backup centre backs in, Badia, Shield, Disasi, Tosin. I like Tosin more, but I was having this conversation with someone the other day where it doesn't really matter. At least whilst Fofana and Colwell are playing well and they remain fit, it's not that big of a conversation, because in a lot of Chelsea games, that backup trio, if they all play together, are probably going to be good enough in the Conference League to deal with what's in front of them. The problem is with Robert Sanchez is it's a week in, week out, unavoidable issue that I don't think you can get around. And I wrote this on my Substack a few weeks ago, that it goes back to the Liverpool Man City examples. Claudio Bravo at Man City and Mignolet and Karius at Liverpool. Eventually, it's something that will always hurt you. And Chelsea fans have now seen it with Sanchez. They've seen it with Kepa. Unfortunately, we saw it a bit with Mendy as well. If you have that position so vulnerable, it will expose you so many times. It's just so it's that the two ends of the pitch, right? If you don't have a good goal scorer, if you don't have a great finisher in the striker position, and if you have a flawed goalkeeper, both of those areas are going to cost you and always be an obstacle and a barrier to progress.
They will. You're definitely right on what you're saying, for sure. I think when I think of Sanchez being a better goalkeeper than Petrovic, I think it's not just about the ability on the ball. I actually think he's a better shot stopper too. Not massively, but I think he is currently. I think Petrovic still can be of a better level than Sanchez. I think this is probably the best Sanchez we're going to get, in truth. But equally, for example, I have no idea why we have Philip Jorgensen. I've not been particularly convinced at all that he's been any better or of any more utility than Petrovic. I understand actually that bringing him in and Petrovic going out is maybe even more preferable for Petrovic than losing his position and finding things a little bit more difficult, adjusting to life maybe on the bench and in Conference League games. But, Jorgensen has had very little to do in Conference League games because we're playing against teams like FC Noah, who literally formed in 2017. So, he's not exactly had much to do, but I've not seen a massive improvement there. I don't really think there's anything there that I'm thinking, wow, this guy's going to come in and really challenge this top spot at Chelsea. In truth, with the goalkeeper position, I would just roof it and go and get someone who's amazing. It can't be that hard. Chelsea have loads of money. Just go and buy someone. I'm sick of it. You're going to spend 110 mil on Caicedo, who is class, and no one talks about his price tag. Go and buy a decent keeper then. It's fine. Go and do that. Go and do some smart business. Go and find someone. There are plenty of keepers out there we all know that are of a level higher than Sanchez. You could go absolute FIFA classic and go and get Oblak, for goodness sake, who's still 31. You go and get Mike Magnon. Even Bolker, I think, is a better keeper than Sanchez. If Edison's leaving City, why are we not having a conversation? Trying to throw a weight around a bit and being there, it definitely helps being in the Champions League. If we can get that, then you get the new keeper, Sam. That would be absolutely ideal.